Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. What's going on, people? What's going on? Let's see. Let me set this up. Alright. Well, it says it's building up an audience, huh? Let me try this new gadget I've brought. I don't know about you gadget maniacs out there. I'm a proper gadget addict. And I brought this kind of gadget for, it's supposed to create a, pretty cool actually. Alright. It just holds up the phone. It's really flexible. It's supposed to be like an arm wire. Stretch this out. There you go. Alright. Just done this. That's what I'm talking about. Right, people. Let me use this right there. Seems to be bouncing. Stop bouncing. Well. Salamullahi ala al-qawm. Damn. Let's see, people, what's going down. If this is, I don't know if this is moving about too much. If it is, just give me a shout. First of all, can you all hear me okay? And I'll try taking some of these. I can see some likes. I mean, can you all? All right. Some questions coming up. All right. Let's. You can hear me fine, yeah. All right. Awais Qazi has just said, "Yep, you can hear me fine. Excellent." Right. Well, people, if the screen starts bouncing too much, it's because of this new gadget I've just bought like that. That's if I hit the table. And it's to do with resting the iPhone. So, the Samsung. Right. Let's begin. Inna alhamdulillahi wa kafa wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulih al-Mustafa wa ala ibadi alladhina irtada wa man bihuda mihtada wa bi athari ahli al-Madinah iqtafa wa ba'd. I just had a better idea actually. I thought, you know what? I won't be able to, me being me, won't be able to resist by not kind of like, I don't know, smacking down on the table or something. And that's going to just compromise everybody's viewership. So, how about I make better use of this gadget. Look at that. God, this is crazy. Alright. See, this is what it's like, this really sturdy kind of wire, hard, solid kind of, that comes with this clip, and I'm hoping that that's okay now. No? That better? No, yeah, no. See, once I start, I don't want to kind of get, well, I think that should be alright now. So hopefully that shouldn't now, if I bang on the table, it shouldn't kind of affect that. So let's get started, folks. The mojito with Pepsi Max. So anyway, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. إن الحمد لله وكفاه والصلاة والسلام على رسوله المصطفى وعلى عباده الذين ارتضى ومن بهداهم اهتدى وبآثار أهل المدينة اقتفى وبعد فسلام الله عليكم once again. Let's see what we've got as questions. Right, I suppose I'll just keep, I don't think I can go further back up. It's nice to see you enjoy. Shukran Jabbar, shukran. Okay, let's see. Wiping over leather socks. Right, is it invalid when someone intention to put them is only to make wudu easier in the Maliki madhab. No, I don't think that's a problem. If a person, the Malikiya tend to be more strict than other madhabs on wiping over non-leather socks. But as far as the intention is concerned, that's absolutely fine. It shouldn't, to adopt ease is from the sunnah of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As Aisha radiallahu anha said, the Prophet was never given a choice between two options, except he always he always chose the option of ease. Any contemporary Salafi scholar whose work you find beneficial? I mean, people can belong to any denomination, and I suppose their work can be always beneficial. It doesn't necessarily mean that. I'll tell you somebody who's very interesting. I believe he is Salafi, unless I'm mistaken, but Shaykh Hatim al-Auni. But he's incredibly enlightened, I have to say, for just not what you would expect his thoughts, somebody coming from the Saudi background, but he's absolutely awesome. So if you can add him on Facebook and benefit from him, do one. Mick M-I-K, I don't know what M-I-K is. Assalamu alaikum from Belgium. In Giacomo, alaikum assalam. Mufti Saab, last week you said that you don't celebrate Mawlid, and the reason for that is you view it as bid'ah. Someone else who heard the same thought, you said you don't celebrate Mawlid but don't think it's a bid'ah. I just want to know if I misunderstood you. Okay, you see, the thing is, I've got a video on YouTube called, I think if you search my name, Mufti Abu Layth, and innovations or bid'ah, it should come up. The thing is, Mawlid is, you see, it is a bid'ah, unquestionably. The question isn't whether it's a bid'ah, the question is where it falls in, is it a reprehensible bid'ah? Can it be classified as a good bid'ah? That is the question. Some people who argue that Mawlid is a sunnah is, in my understanding, just a very desperate cause. It's absolute. I mean, they're just shooting themselves in the foot, really. I wouldn't. It's a very insecure reaction. I would just be honest about it. I mean, if I supported Mawlid, or even if I didn't, or whatever, but I would just be honest. That this is obviously not something that the Messenger of Allah used to do, or the Sahaba, or the Tabi'een, or the Atba'u Tabi'een, or in the time. I mean, the first time it ever appeared was arguably 400 years after the Prophet, maybe 500 years after the Prophet. Nobody denies that its emergence was inspired by other religions and other cultures. So other people celebrate birthdays and of their leaders or founders or gods or prophets and Muslims at the time, whether it was the Shia of the Fatimiyyin that began it, or it was the Abbasid king Muzaffar al-Muzaffar, whoever it was, but somebody began it around 400-500 years after the Prophet. The question is this something that is okay to do? I don't believe it's haram to do anything like that, and I don't believe the early Malikiya thought it was haram, but they thought it was discouraged to do anything new. That they thought it's okay, whatever the Prophet did was suffices. That is the understanding of Imam Malik and the early Malikiya. Obviously in Imam Malik's time there was no Mawlid, but other acts that were similar, that were invented later on with good intentions, Imam Malik's attitude towards them as a blanket attitude was that whatever the Prophet did suffices, and in a statement he said that there was no khair except the Messenger of Allah already demonstrated it to us. Now that is the view that I'm upon. So they would see this as, from a technical viewpoint, as discouraged, as in it's better not to do than to do. That's what I would, as a person, adopt. Now, that said, over the centuries, as time passed, Mawlid became incredibly widespread. So maybe around 700 years onwards, it became incredibly widespread. I would assume probably at least 50% of the Muslim world were celebrating it. In the centuries to come after that, it perhaps became predominant. So in the last 200-300 years, Mawlid and these things are probably practiced by 80%, I don't know, maybe of the Muslim world. So it became a dominant feature throughout Muslim societies, to the extent that it's almost just known, as in Muslims do this. Where does that leave the ruling, or where does that put people, let's say, that don't do Mawlid? I mean, you get some views like the Salafi movement that are very harsh in their condemnation. So they will call it haram. They will condemn people that do it. They will maybe even say that this act belongs in the hellfire and so on. I disagree entirely with that approach. And and likewise, you will get extreme people on the other side saying anybody who doesn't practice the Mawlid is not from Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, which is an absurd statement. I mean, at best, it could be comical, because obviously the practice of Mawlid wasn't introduced in this ummah till 400-500 years after the Prophet. How could its very act define who the Muslim body is when the best of the Muslims all passed before this even emerged? So I think that's, and I place them two on a par, the way the Salafi reaction and that reaction. And then I think how my understanding, and many of the Malikis who didn't opt for this division of bid'ah, they said that, look, that in our understanding it's better not to do than to do, but if somebody wants to do it, we don't condemn them. We don't even criticize them. It's their choice. Many latter day Malikiya, so from the 800s onwards, a lot of them, the majority of them, practiced Mawlid. Beginning with people like Ibn Qarrafi, who was really huge within the Maliki madhab of Tunis and so on, and then the latter day Maghariba, the Maghribis and so on, and all of these, the majority of them practiced Mawlid. So it became a well-known, respectable position within the madhab. So both opinions are there. My camera is reversed. Is that a problem? The camera is reversed? I mean, does that make an issue? I don't know. So, okay, that's just to clarify that, okay? I hope that helps. Right, I know that in the Maliki madhab you can eat lizards and turtles, but is there hadith about it, or did Imam Malik? You see, the thing is, there in the Maliki madhab, food, very few, I mean, there's huge diversity, but the general understanding is that very few things are prohibited as food, as in clear-cut haram. Those things are just like really pig, dead animals which are sacrificed to other than Allah and stuff like that. Very few things are clear-cut haram as food in the Maliki madhab. So every bird of prey is halal. Every bird is halal. Everything in the sea is halal. Amphibians are halal, the creatures that live in and out of the sea. Insects, not that people eat them, but are halal. Predatory animals are only makruh. So there's very few things that are actually haram. Alright. Now, did I choose the Maliki madhab, or did the Maliki madhab choose me? See, is namaz allowed with this shirt? As you can see, the horse embossed on it. I can't see it, but please enlighten me. I mean, in my understanding, of course, it's permissible. The hadith in Sahih Muslim says, "Illa rahman fi thawb," except a picture on cloth. What's interesting is the culture we have today of, of what we think is Islam. It's amazing, isn't it? Because when you read, I was just reading yesterday some hadith from Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim on on sketches, and how even Fatima radiallahu anha, the Prophet's daughter, outside her house, she had this thing with a picture on it. And although the Prophet ﷺ kind of criticized it and they took it off, and the Prophet said, why don't you send it to so-and-so's house instead? And then they had another story, another narration in Sahih Muslim where somebody, was it Zayd ibn Harith, but anyway, one of the Sahaba, about him having this picture in his house and so on. It's interesting that the Sahaba took an interest in things like that. You see, the same thing, Aisha radiallahu anha at home having a picture stuck up. And although the Prophet said, you see, now what's interesting is the Prophet didn't actually say that, oh my God, this is haram. He said, it distracts me in my salah, so remove it, because it was stuck in front. Now the Malikiyah, although myself I don't do this much, there are two views in the Maliki school. But where are you supposed to look in salah? Now, the Malikiyah, generally say you look straight ahead. Some people, like the Hanafi madhab, say you look at the point of sujood, and that's what Qadi Iyad kind of teaches as well. That's what I personally do. But the thing is, in the textbooks, generally they say you look straight ahead. فَوَلِّ وَجْهَكَ شَطْرَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ. That move your head straight forward towards the Masjid al-Haram. As you see, look at that. The pain, I apologize for that. Right, so now the point is that from this understanding, the Prophet ﷺ was facing straight ahead, and the picture was stuck right in front of the Prophet ﷺ. So he said, I find it distracting, which kind of makes sense. Okay, now the thing is, he told Aisha radiallahu anha to remove it. Now in the hadith it says Aisha removed it and turned it into a pillow, because it was a cloth. You got to remember, these weren't papers, they were like drawings on cloths. That you had this piece of cloth, and that's what had the drawing on it. So it says Aisha radiallahu anha turned it into a kind of a cushion cover. And then some Sahaba say, some ulama say she cut it up and so on. But it doesn't actually mention that in the narration. That's an interpretation, because they can't believe that she still kept it. But the truth is, a lot of Sahaba had things like that. And like I mentioned the hadith in Bukhari about Fatima radiallahu anha having this outside her house and so on. But it's in my point there is, it's interesting what we think is Islam, and maybe what the Salaf thought was Islam. It's just interesting. Or did Imam Malik give qiyas? Qiyas to what? To insects and stuff like that? No, it's to do with, as Abu Bakr al-Laythi and other people say, that Imam Malik's understanding is that everything by default is halal unless proven otherwise. And that's what I also go with. To your new home, does Islam suggest any actions or things to do moving into new home, adhaan in the home, etc.? That's a good question, actually. I'm not sure. There is narrations about having a home blessed by praying rak'atayn in there. There are narrations about recitation of the Quran. I'm not sure about the adhaan. I'm not sure. Allahu a'lam. I'm not sure. But I would say, look, don't... My understanding is that Islam is natural, and just be natural. Like, you don't need to, we don't need to christen things. We don't need to baptize things. We don't need to, it's not evil spells are not lurking around. It's just natural. It's just the world. That's all it is. So reading Quran for a deceased person, what does Malikis say about that? Habi says bid'ah. You'll be surprised, because a lot of the Malikiyah think it's bid'ah too. The thing is, this mas'ala falls under what they call isal al-thawab or al-niyaba fil ibadah. That deputyship, like as in being a deputy in regarding worship. So al-niyaba fil ibadah, that deputyship in worship, or worshipping on behalf of somebody else. This is called an niyaba fil ibadah. Now, the Imam Malik and his madhab clearly do not accept that as the dominant position. Imam Shafi'i did not accept that, although his madhab later on disagreed with him and accepted it. The Hanafi madhab tends to accept it, and the Hanbalis ironically tend to accept it, although you would imagine that the Hanbali temperament, that they wouldn't accept it, but they actually do. The Maliki madhab is perhaps the most reluctant in accepting these things. So it says that your actions only benefit you as a person. When you die, people can make dua for you. Everybody agrees you can make dua on behalf of another person. Everybody accepts that. This is not talking about a prayer. This is talking about performing an action on behalf of another person. So they all accept dua is valid. Dua you are not doing on behalf of, you are doing it for that person. So I'm praying to Allah, Ya Allah, please bless this person, forgive this person. I'm praying for the person. I'm not doing it it's not that I'm doing an action pretending to be him. So nobody disagrees on dua. And I think this is why when Imam Nawawi argues this point, trying to criticize the Malikiyah, I think he misses the point altogether, because nobody's arguing about dua. Like he keeps trying to prove this by using dua as an example. And the Malikiyah don't have an issue with dua, because they say that dua is not you doing an action on behalf of the person. It's just you're doing it, asking Allah to forgive that person. So it's your action. Now, the other thing is everybody accepts you cannot pray on behalf of another person. So Ibn Abdul Barr in his commentary on the Muwatta says, really, that's the basis that everybody should resort to. The fact that you can't pray salah on behalf of another person means you can't really do any of these actions on behalf of another person. And it should be, and it ought to be, full stop there and then. But that's not what happens. So they all accept that you can't perform salah. They disagree on other matters then. So some people will say, so what they came up with a policy. This is they all accept that you can pay money on behalf of somebody else. So if I was to, let's say so-and-so owed a debt and I paid his debt, that is valid. Everybody accepts that. So monetary actions they accept. Worship, they pure rituals, corporal, so bodily rituals that are isolated, like salah, they clearly agree that you cannot do. The Malikiyah say clearly any kind of bodily rituals you cannot do. Any monetary aspect you can do. So you can pay on behalf of somebody. They then disagree on Hajj. That is Hajj more of a monetary ritual, like monetary aspect, or does it have a corporal, a kind of more bodily aspect to it? This is why Imam Malik, he accepted the Hajj, but very reluctantly. And so in the Mudawwana, when he's asked about doing Hajj on behalf of somebody who's dying or has died, and he says that if they left the money for it, then it can be done. But he still says it doesn't have to be done. And he says it's not something you have to read. Almost as though he's kind of like saying, well, okay, but I'm not still keen about it. Because he's very, in his response, he's quite a bit dismissive towards it. But he kind of says, well, if they do it, they can do it. It's up to them, but they don't have to. So that's... So this is why later on, the later day Malikiyah that accepted things like Bid'atul Hasana and so on, they do say, they include with that things like this an-niyaba fil ibadah, doing worship on behalf of somebody or donating rewards to somebody. That's another way as well that they interpret this as ihda'u thawab. So I do something and I say, personally, I don't actually accept this. That's my personal understanding. Once again, I don't criticize people who choose it. But to me, it seems a bit irrational. Like if I sat here and did something and said, Ya Allah, give this to that guy sitting over there. I don't see that we have that kind of ownership of our worship. But at the same time, I understand how human beings kind of work to some extent. I mean, I take an interest. And a while back, once I did a Snapchat video of a dear friend of mine who's somebody close to him had passed away. And he said to me, I'm going there, and he was telling me how the person was so close to him and he can't believe that he's died. And he said, I'm going there and I'm going to read Surah Yasin for him. And I think that was the first time it really hit me that, you see, I understand like what's coming, like it's the helplessness. Like people want to help, but they can't help because obviously there's some matters we're helpless in. And in that situation, it's the understanding that they've still helped. That I want to do something for the person, even though it's too late. And I guess human beings at some level, kind of will need that. I mean, many people, not all, but many people. And so I understand where they're coming from. I mean, I would never criticize somebody that necessarily, that believes things like that or does things. I don't personally believe it happens. But that's my, sticking with Imam Malik, Imam Shafi'i, the main Maliki madhab and so on. Right, I hope that helps. What's your opinion on the E40 and others that say, I'm not sure what's in the E400. But a lot of these, sorry, excuse my cough. I ought to be having some hot tea and I'm having a cold drink. A lot of these preservatives are usually transformed beyond their kind of essence has been transformed really, so it's not something which should be haram in essence, although there is a huge difference of opinion, but that's my understanding from a Maliki perspective. This would be a great time to answer the question. I'm not sure what question you sent me. What's the Mashoor view on women traveling alone? Okay, you see, right, it says my connection is weak. Whoa, how the hell is my connection weak? Right, I've got broadband. God damn. Right, so the thing, you see, what is the Mashoor view of women traveling alone? I think that's a tricky one, really, because I'm not sure what Mashoor means. You see, because if you're going to say what Mashoor means is what somebody said 600 years ago, and then people disagreed because obviously over 1,000 years ago the Malikis were very understanding on women traveling alone, and they understood this hadith to be about protection, and like that's what Al-Baji, Abul Walid Al-Baji says and so on. It doesn't mean other people don't disagree with him in the madhab. Other people did. And some people have a very controlling attitude about women should sit at home and stuff like this. And I disagree with that understanding. Do I believe that view is the Mashoor? You see, I have this whole thing on... see, my problem is I ask too many questions. I seriously do. I ask way too many questions when I'm trying to learn something. I question things from so many angles that I'm not surprised I drive a lot of people insane. But the problem with that is it then you end up unearthing and uncovering a lot of aspects which other people don't, maybe they just ignore or they don't notice, I don't know. So this thing on Mashoor, like what is Mashoor, how did it emerge, when did it emerge, what is it about, who gets to call the Mashoor shots, what about when there's multiple Mashoors, what about... So I've done a whole video on this, the concept of Mashoor and Rajih within the Maliki madhab, and I've shown that there is really no consistency in these matters. There's an assumed consistency, and I respect that, but there isn't actually a consistency. So for example, the Maliki madhab is not like the Hanafi madhab. In the sense, Hanafi madhab seems to have a lot of, there was a lot of difference of opinion in the early, let's say, 300 years. And after that, they seem to just really kind of straighten things out. Like really, and it just gets narrow, and everybody that comes kind of locks it off. The Maliki school had a lot of sub-schools. So it had the Iraqi sub-school that lasted for about 300-400 years. It had the Egyptian school, the Maghariba, which was Tunis traditionally called Ifriqiya, and Maghrib. At the Andalusi school. He even had for a few centuries the Sicilian school. Now, some of these kind of die out, but several of them, like the Andalusi, the Maghribi, the Iraqi, they play huge roles. Huge, massive, substantial roles within the madhab. And they disagree substantially on matters. And what they don't do what the Hanafiya did in their madhab. And that is that they don't disregard each other. Like the Hanafiya started to kind of create a hierarchy. So for example, the Iraqi Hanafiya are primary. And those who come ma wara an-nahar take a secondary stance. The Malikis were not like that. Like they just respected each other's views and just quoted them. They kind of incorporated the whole descent into the madhab. Now, you have to remember that different schools prioritize not only different principles, but also different narrations of students of Imam Malik. So, for example, the Iraqi school for several hundred years never relied upon the transmission of Ibn al-Qasim. They used to go through Ibn Abd al-Hakam. So things like this, you see, make a huge difference on where the school will get to. Now, people that came later on and tried to regulate it immensely struggled, as you can imagine. So no two books within the Maliki madhab are almost identical. So the Risala, which is heavily relied upon, is not like Mukhtasar Khalil at all in many of its issues. Just as, it's going to be different from, let's say, the Talqeen of Qadi Abdul Wahhab al-Baghdadi, which is going to be different from the Tafri', which is going to be different from the Tahdhib, which is going to be different from the Khisal of Ibn Zurb, which is going to be different. And what books and what views start to preponderate sometimes is more just down to politics and history and power than it is to do with divine kind of righteousness or correctness, if you understand what I'm saying. Anyway, let's move on, people. Which surah are preferred? Heard that Yasin is. I'm not sure what you mean by that. How much durood should we recite? I heard 313 will be in Kasir. I have no idea, Farhan, what you were asking about. How much durood, salatu salam, should we recite? I'm not sure what that means. Where, in what context? I can't seem to open Khalil Chaudhry's question. Right. Okay, wait there. I see now. Whoa, Canadians this Monday celebrate Thanksgiving. It certainly has no religious connotation. I see no reason why it should be haram. Would you say, I believe Thanksgiving and things like that are not haram. The Americans do seem to be really as open-minded as they are. You see, they seem to be very harsh against holidays. I don't know why that is. And not only holidays, festivals and days like, let's say, Halloween and stuff like that seem to be incredibly harsh about things like... I think that's because America generally, people take religion a bit too seriously. And so they associate this with paganism and stuff like this. And I mean, I don't see any of those links, and to me, in my understanding, it's fine. Right, so Noman Ahmed Rafi is beatboxing haram. What is beatboxing? Isn't that like going like making those sounds and stuff like that? I don't believe that's haram, no. Why would that be haram? A sister married to a brother. Allah. Don't you guys find religious people speak, like religious people talk, religiousies, like, don't you just find it incredibly awkward and weird? Damn, it has its own kind of nomenclature and its own undertones and all this brother, sister. I find it incredibly weird, honestly. I mean, I know everybody says we're one big family. I know we're one big family, but I don't believe you have to call everybody brother and sister. But so people, instead of saying a man married a woman, they say a brother married a sister. I mean, he married his own sister. What the hell? Oh no, he married a sister. Okay. You mean a woman? You mean a girl? Is that what you mean? Which, by the way, this is all very Westerners. We do this. This is, believe it or not, this is not in other cultures. Even today, like in Urdu, you wouldn't say things like that. And not even in Arabic to that extent. Maybe amongst some modern day people, but in none of the fiqh books, in none of the historical texts, did they used to, neither the Salaf, the Sahaba, the Tabi'een, the hundreds and hundreds of thousands, the 1,000 years of Muslim civilization, they never used to refer to men and women as brothers and sisters. Obviously, they would sometimes, like if I say, all right, brothers, we've gathered here today, like that they would. But not in the sense like every time you want to say a guy, you say a brother. And every time you want to say a girl, you say a sister. This is just weird this is 21st century Western Muslims trying to overimpose an Islamic identity on everything. But anyway, damn, I got so carried away, the question's gone. I'm ever so sorry. Can you bring the question back and I'll try and answer it? Mufti, long time stalker, Yusuf al-Khattab. Allah. Yeah, people, that's al-Khattab. Okay, here we go. Maliki having a hard time praying without a leather belt or socks. Damn. Yusuf, your questions has gone up. Right, Sayyid, you want to do a different haircut? Right. What's the ruling on wearing dog tags? Permissible? Absolutely fine. I already do. Just want to hear this opinion. How is it justified? Marry a woman, fall in another with another, marry her, fall in love with another, marry her again. This is what I'm not sure, Omar Shabir, I'm not sure what that question is talking about. How is it fine to fall in love with different women? Is that what the question is? Okay, what a strange question. Right. Thaqib, alright. Personal trainer, people. Those people in Birmingham need personal training. That's your guy. Right, Mubin. Doing it. My man just drank with his left hand. Right. First of all, I'm not your man. To start with, right? Hashtag no homo, right? Secondly, the mirror is just, not the mirror, the camera is just reversed. So this is actually my right hand. This is my left hand. See, I wear my watch on my left hand. This is my right hand. It's just the camera is reversing it, that's all. And stop being so judgmental, people. What's wrong with people? Seriously. Even if I did drink with my left hand, what's the big deal? I'm just saying, like, what? No need to kind of like start trying to criticize people. That is, so your view on the theory of evolution in terms of macroevolution, fossils have been found. You see, David, excellent question, which more and more Muslims need to engage. In my understanding, evolution, in my understanding, did occur. I don't believe it clashes with Islam at all, except that Adam was created by divine intervention. So I feel that's an important part, that I feel that Adam, Allah created Adam. Using the same kind of, he would have come from the same kind of materials that the hominins before him were from, except he would have been modified and created. So he was not born from a mum and dad, but evolution in general did occur, in my understanding. So selfie camera, imagine it's reversed, so looks like left hand. Yep, people, stop making such a big deal about which hand I'm drinking with. God damn it, it is my right hand, but come on, is that the right? make sure you're saying Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam after you say his name, Bani Adam. Bani Adam, I'm sorry, did Allah place you as the officer to go around correcting people? You know what? What is it with Muslims and this obsession to want to command other people? You know, we have this thing of like, I am authorized to tell you what to do, God damn it. No, you're not. Look, people, you know, by you saying, somebody saying, I say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam aloud so many times and I make it be heard that I said it, doesn't mean you love the Messenger of Allah any more than other Muslims. I mean, just chill out, people. Take a goddamn chill pill, right? Muslims love the Messenger of Allah. They have an excessive love for the Messenger of Allah. There is a ruling that when you hear the Messenger's name, the Prophet ﷺ encouraged us to say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And Muslims do want to say, they don't need to be stamped down on and being told, God damn it, say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. You can't even tell somebody to pray Salah like that. Don't even, God damn it, pray Salah. You must pray. You know, just chill out, right? Like, just look, it doesn't mean just because, and this is, the Salaf never used to go around doing things like that, you know. They never used to go around, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, you know, like every time something, they were just natural. And by doing certain rituals, it doesn't mean your love is more pure. Okay. How's Jimmy doing? Oh, Jimmy's good. Jimmy's good. He's good. He's chilling. I don't see him myself so often because of the work. If a restaurant has the word halal on it, can we eat from it? I believe so, yes. If somebody says to you this is halal, the onus is on them. Isn't it haram to wear a chain? Hell no, but what kind of chains have you been wearing? It's not haram to wear a chain, no. It's just, it depends on your culture, that's all. See, the Sahaba, the Salaf did used to do things like wear bracelets. They used to actually, believe it or not, have those big kind of like, almost like anklets. But not anklets, like there were anklets that women wore, and then there were these kind of big ones that you see in some of these old war movies that some of them used to wear around their, I suppose ankle, but they were like large, thick, kind of padded ornaments. And necklaces people did wear, but it wasn't such a big thing amongst the Arabs and so on. I'm converting to Maliki fit. Hell yeah, you should all do that. Hell yeah. What do you mean dead animals? You mean we should eat them alive? No. When I say dead, I meant animals that you have not sacrificed. They were already dead. Is your famous... Hell yeah. This one's actually lacking the Red Bull because I had like a super, one of those espressos. So I thought I'll just chill out with the caffeine today. But what sunnah prayers should we do before Jummah khutbah? You can do two rak'atain, 2 rak'at of sunnah prayer. You can do that, inshallah. It says online, the calendar, Fajr is 5:30 a.m. What time can I do the sunnah fard earliest? 5:30 a.m.? Simple question. Allah. Come on, if all the questions were like that, ya salam. Different level haircuts, halal or haram. You know, this is a myth, by the way. You know, this having your hair of one level. Previous Muslims never believed in this kind of stuff. I'd like people to actually bring me a reference from any historical book. Don't talk about qaza, talk about hairstyles and having hair of one length. Show me in any single book. Qaza is not talking about everybody should have one length hair. It is impossible to grow hair of one length. Because if you have long hair, the hair at the back must be shorter than the hair at the front, which is going to fall all the way to the back. So this is silly, it's ridiculous, and it makes this deen seem incredibly just makes it seem so dumb, that's all, in my understanding. Right? Absolutely different haircuts are halal. There's nothing wrong with that, and people should have hairstyles. Why is it Muslims, like when people become practicing, they just become like, okay, they become, not generally, but you see this a lot unfortunately, they become obnoxious, arrogant, they lack style, they have no hairstyles all of a sudden, they don't look good, it's like they have like a really, like a bitter personality, become incredibly morbid, just death-centered, I mean, who the hell wants to become religious if that's what God teaches you? Then who wants God? I mean, if you're going to say God is only teaching you to just become this sad, arrogant, bitter, harmful person in society, that's not the deen that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ left us with. Yo, Sayyid, if he doesn't answer, I'll get to you later after the question. Different levels. I'm not sure what Sayyid's question is. Okay, is it haram to wear a chain in the neck? Nope, it's not haram. Mufti, is there hadith qiyas about lizards or turtles? No, it's the general default ruling that all things are halal. That's a principle. It's generally whether it's induced or deduced, I suppose, can be debated, but it's a principle within the Sharia. Wasn't the image of Maryam alayhi salam intact by the Prophet ﷺ in the Kaaba? It was not. And you know, Mubin, what's actually very good that you reminded me is that many statues, when the Sahaba took over certain places and that belonged to the Christian kingdoms and so on, okay, in their churches they may have kind of removed certain idols and stuff, but not in the palaces. The palaces they took over, they kept the statues and they didn't even deface them. So it's really interesting. This is what I'm saying, how the Salaf practiced Islam and how we practice Islam. Can you shake hands with women while at work, for example? You see, as in just go around, hey, what's up? Hug time. No, the thing is, some ulama would say, look, keeping it real. I know people like Shaykh bin Bayya has said that it is permissible in a work environment to do things like that. I've even come across people like Shaykh Yaqubi who alongside, I'm not sure if he's written it somewhere so much, but in practice he permits it to shake hands with women in that setting. I've seen him, or we've seen the Shaykh do that himself, as we've seen Shaykh bin Bayya do that and other people. So in my understanding, if it was a work environment, I would say it's not haram. If that was something, I'm not saying you go around doing that every day, hey, what's up? But I mean, like, imagine you've gone for a job interview, or you've come somewhere, some client or some people have come and they extend a hand. I believe it is permitted to shake that hand, given our context. So what is a reasonable rate for an in-person hifz for professionals? Shahzad, whatever you can memorize. I've done a video on tips on memorizing the Quran. It's on YouTube. Have a watch, inshallah. Let me know. A Gabbar Singh laugh. Areo Samba. Kitne aadmi the khaliya. Anyway, I'm gonna ask the question again. Why aren't we as an ummah insisting that we have to give back the beloved Hagia Sophia back to Orthodox Christians? Well, Sammy, is that your question? Sorry, I don't mean to laugh. Well, I mean, they're not going to listen to me if that's what you think. The thing is, look, give it back to who? Give it back to who? I mean, I'm pretty sure the Turkish people are all Muslims, more or less now. But you mean from history? I mean, those people have gone. They've gone, haven't they? It's not... See, whatever's been taken, whatever's happened... I mean, I believe in reparations as a whole. I believe that the colonialists ought to make reparations. I believe that compensation payments should be made to countries like modern-day Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, and all the other countries that Britain, for example, colonized. To Jamaica, I believe they should make reparations, they should make financial compensation. I believe that this is, you see, these things that is a priority, way above returning a building called the Hagia Sophia, whatever, which is like a museum or something. I believe actual differences should be made, because a lot of the economy in these countries was boosted by not only slave labor that was used, but the resources of those countries. So now that these countries are doing well, and they ain't, I believe restorations and reparations should be made. Sheikh Imam Malik Shafi, humble as well. Humble, spelled humble. All right. Oh, damn, the question's gone. Damn. William, you gotta repeat your question. Sorry. International, the Hagia Sophia is not a mosque anymore. I'm not saying it's a mosque. I'm just saying return it to who? Is beatboxing haram? I don't believe. I'm not sure what I understand beatboxing to be where you make sounds by kind of like beating. Is that what they do with their mouth and stuff like that? I don't believe that's haram, if that's what beatboxing is. If it's something else, I don't know what it is. I'll have to check it up. Monetary actions deal with other people. The worship deals with Allah. Substitution allowed. That's correct. My Sheikh, you're coughing. I am indeed, man. I am indeed. This cough. How's your table? Abdul Majid, people. Majid, a big shout out going out to Maj. Not only is he a newly wedded husband, alright, but he also gave some valuable time, put his engineering skills to the test, and he actually set up my workstation for me upstairs, which I wanted to put on live today, but I'll do it another time. It's awesome. So, Maj, doing it, man, you're doing it. Have you done Alim class? I'm afraid I have. Not only Alim class, I've done my Hifd class, my Alim class, my Mufti class. Hell yeah. You see, when you were just sitting catching up on Breaking Bad or whatever, no, actually Breaking Bad came later on. I don't know what TV series were out then in the early 2000s. I was out there studying. Oh yeah. So salam Atif wa alaikum assalam making questions makes you smart. Shukran. What is your opinion on Tawassul and Istighatha? I believe Tawassul is permissible. But I believe in Allah being a personal God. That I believe Allah is with all of us. And some Salafis are going to say, what? You mean like right here? Like, is he in this drink right now? As I'm drinking this drink, am I drinking a piece of... Chill out, bro. Chill out. I said, I believe Allah's with us. I never said I'm a retard. Right? The thing is, what I mean is what everybody understands when they say God is with you, like, may God be with us. But the thing is that I believe in a personal God, just as we all do. And I believe Allah hears us, He listens to us. Allah says, Uduni, call me, astajib lakum. I will answer you. Now that's Allah saying it as a condition, like a promise. You do it, watch me answer. So I call Allah directly. I don't believe Tawassul is haram though. Right, so can someone pray if they have a catheter for medical reasons? Yes, of course. What is your opinion on working for a financial firm where, of course, many interest-bearing transactions take place? You see, I've got a... If you search on Facebook my name with the discussion, with the word either riba or interest, I've done an audio on how complicated the topic of riba actually is. I think if you watch that, it'll make a lot of... if you listen to it, it'll make a lot of sense. Don't tell our secrets out. What is the hukum on hire purchase agreements? Hire purchase as in hiring cars? Is that what you mean? Hiring is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Could you explain the issue of Hazrat Ali and Muawiya? Wow. Wow. On a quick Q&A live. I believe that the issue was a human issue. It was human, all too human. And I think in some cases it's been blown out of proportion. It was intense. They obviously fought. But it wasn't just, I think the whole thing from the time of the assassination of Uthman, pre-assassination, so just before the assassination of Uthman, right up until the time of the murder of Abdullah ibn Zubayr, which is in 73 Hijri. So I think those maybe, what are we going to say, 50 plus years are incredibly turbulent, and they're incredibly interesting as well to really develop your history. But I wish I could go through them right now, but I can't. I would love to go through them at some point. But the problem is, I also fear that a lot of Muslims are not ready to kind of, because we have like this, you see, because we can't handle ambiguity, and then people just kind of all flip and, oh, I don't want to hear, I just want to hear in a particular, like a narrative, and they don't want to hear the human complexities. They just want to hear, like, you see, like they think life is like a movie. There must be one hero, there must be one bad guy. The hero kills the bad guy. It doesn't work like that in that history. There were bad motives, but good people had maybe questionable motives. Maybe bad people had good motives. There were politics, there was power, there was, there was all kinds that was going on. Huge power plays, huge kind of human issues, and good people getting caught in difficult circumstances. Maybe good people making bad choices. Maybe who is good, what choice is good, I said as a thought experiment, I said if you really want to learn, I told a lot of my friends and students this, I said you should read Islamic history sanitized of names. So the whole thing, the names are all redacted. It's anonymized. So imagine you replace all the names with phantom names. I tell you, as a thought experiment, try that. It will be I'll use the Indian term, mind-blowing. It will be, seriously, it will change like everything. Because once you eradicate your kind of values and you're just reading something for what it is, it makes everything so different. All of a sudden you'll start to look at different motives and different things. But anyway, let's move on. Dig in the silver. Shukran Adil, shukran. You did that last week, I missed it, man. How do you get such an awesome goatee? Hell yeah, man. Grow the goatee, man. Grow the goatee. Goatees are slick. Amazon.com. Not for the goatee, Yusuf, but oh my God, yeah. Don't say sister. Yeah, I mean, brother, sister stuff, I find it all ridiculous. And I mean, I'm not trying, if anybody does that, by the way, if I'm saying anything that you do, it's not a personal thing. I don't mean you, I just mean out there. It's not you, it's me. That's how to call off a relationship 101. Right, okay. It's not you, it's me. Anyway, how to see the Prophet in a dream. Okay, I wish I had that formula, but I don't. Nadir, what's that EC teaches? God knows. So on point, what brother sister thing? How much is halal to bench? As much as you can go, Kyle, as much as you can go. No homo isn't judgmental. Lol. Right, ruling on wearing leather from unknown origin. You see, there is wearing leather once it's been cleaned. There are some views that all leather is halal, including pig skin. And that was the view of the great Maliki scholar Sahnun, who authored the Mudawwana. It was his understanding. It was the understanding of Dawood, al-Zahiri, and some scholars within Islam. The rest most people felt that, okay, bar pig, all other leather is permitted. I would say, look, if you totally don't know, it's not too much of an issue. But if you know it's pig skin, then it's better to avoid it. But some people have said it's permissible. That's what I would say. Assalamu alaikum, Mufti, long time stalk. Alright, I'm a Maliki having a hard time praying without a leather belt or boots on. Any solution is, yeah, you can wear leather. Many of the Malikiya believed and transmitted from Imam Malik that leather is fine. In fact, Sahnun said all leather is fine. Ibn Wahab said all leather bar pig is fine once it's been cleaned. And it's some interpretations from Ibn Qasim saying some isn't and some is. But I don't follow that interpretation. I follow the one that leather is permitted once it's clean. And I would avoid pigskin. That's what I would do. Do they say you call them, but I'm not sure. Is there any Atharis around? God knows. Alaykum salam. Pretty sure the teachers use the term too. I'm not sure what the terms are. Hussein Osama, Haq, Kyle, doing it. Haq, alright. He's asking, how is it justified for a man to marry different women? Like you get married to a woman and then just because you like or love another woman, you marry again till 4 times. I remember seeing, remember the bro asked you the same question. Like he's saying, how is it justified? You see, it's justified from an Islamic perspective, the way science today as well. So when I studied psychology, I know people are going to, maybe women are going to disagree, but this is from an atheistic, move religion aside, a scientific and a psychological perspective. So in psychology, the studies that they've done, so when we was doing our psychology degree, when we were studying sexuality, they said that studies that have been done till date all demonstrate that men are polygamous by nature and women are not, generally speaking. This is what they said. I'm not saying what Islam said. This is what was in our psychology and in our science textbooks. Men tend to have an instinct like that. You see, you can't, and men will always kind of be like that. You see, they'll always kind of be, this is being recorded, so I don't know what words to use. I suppose men are always on it to an extent, if I can say it like that. And I think women, they obviously to them relationships are important too. They're human beings. But I think it's different, you see, like in the sense that women think long term. Men are only thinking about immediate gratification. And then they kind of get duped into the long term. They're kind of like, uh-oh, what did I agree to? But it's interesting, you see, because you know these stereotypes, and I'm going to go into some stereotypes. Pardon me for that. It's not that I'm endorsing stereotypes, but it's interesting. I read one that said once that although men in general things appear to be less emotional and more rational, but they said when it comes to love, that you find men tend to love irrationally and emotionally, and women actually tend to love rationally. And I thought that's strange. But then as you go through life, you actually find a lot of circumstances like that. It's quite interesting. So I think really the deen was just going with what was human nature. What science also claims is human nature. And that in a way, it was kind of seeing that, well, men are going to do this anyway, whether you say or don't say. So why not just give it some formality and give it some kind of honor as opposed to just doing it on the sly? That's, in my understanding, Allahu A'lam. Who was Imam Qarrafi? Imam Qarrafi was a legend, Abu al-Abbas al-Qarrafi of the 800s. He was from a place, Bab Qarafa, which is in Cairo today. And it's that graveyard, you know, that large graveyard in Cairo. It was that section. Mufti, long time. Alright. Is wine vinegar okay for us? Yes, that is okay as long as it's vinegar. That's absolutely fine. In fact, Yusuf, there's a hadith in Tirmidhi that the Prophet ﷺ said, Ni'mu khallikum khallu khamrikum, that the best of your vinegar is the vinegar of your alcohol, of your wine. Can I wipe my feet over socks during wudu at work? Many ulama have said that's permissible, including Imam Suhaib Webb has given that fatwa. Many other people. I would say you can go with that if you were feeling, if it really made life difficult. Or very inconveniencing, you can go with that, inshallah. What's the shahada to convert to Maliki? Alright. You just be cool, that's all. In fact, if anybody here is interested in Maliki fiqh, just search. It's in my saved links as well. You can just search on Facebook. If you put my name and Foundations of Islam, that's a course in 20 audio lectures where the PDFs are available. It's free. You can download it, keep it, listen to it, share it. And it's got the English text and the Arabic text and 20 audio classes recorded. That's a beginner's intermediate version on the 5 pillars. There's one also known as Ashmawiya. If you do a search on that as well, you'll find it. That's in 6 lectures, and inshallah that should kind of brush up your knowledge on the school of Medina or Maliki fiqh. Right. There is also a lecture on YouTube called The School of Medina in the 21st Century. If you have a listen to that, I do give a whole background on what is so special about the school and why today. He just said when people get religious, they have no style. Is that not the case though? But we need to change that. We need to change that, seriously. The same with the Jews. I think that conservatism in general, which makes one obnoxious, Muslims, Jews, maybe so. I don't have so much exposure to Jewish people. Wearing silver chains and bracelets, absolutely permissible. Wearing silver chains and bracelets for, I'm doing it to demonstrate it's permissible. Hell yeah. So Imam Qarrafi was Maliki in Madhab Ahmad, and he was a major usuli and a faqih. He has a very famous book known as Dhakhira, the Reservoir, and it's probably in about 10 volumes. He's got some famous books in usul fiqh, loads, the Nafa'is. He's got so many tanqiyah. He's got so many books on usul. His furuq on the axioms. Here from Salik, wa alaykum as-salam. A change from snapping. I'm sure I always get your snaps. Speaking on the issue of women's rights, I have a question, Shaykh. Yesterday I had a discussion with a girl and she asked me about Islam, meant to marry. Check you out, Salik. Question where women can work and take care of themselves and their children. How can that be just enough? Check you out trying to getting all these questions about. No, the thing is, look, it isn't based on the multiple women thing. In my understanding, was based on human instincts, and it wasn't based on, although I'm sure societal structures played a part, but I think it is just instinctual. As they say, what is it? A man is only as faithful as his options. Don't quote me on that. I just had somebody read that to me once, that's all. Assalamu alaikum. Can I pray tahajjud in the first part of the night before sleeping? Yes, you can. That's absolutely fine. Sorry, I meant sister, Mufti, not girl. Okay, I'm not sure. Oh, haha, lol. I get it. Who belongs to Ahlul Dhimma? Nobody belongs to Ahlul Dhimma. I mean, we don't live in that kind of a context anymore. Tupac or Biggie? Is that turf war still going on? Safraz Kareem, could you ask a more simple question, man? Mufti Sahib, what is your opinion on obtaining loans through conventional finance? I do believe that it is permitted in this day and age, in our context, to take loans and mortgages, in my understanding. I have got a piece out there. Once again, if you search on Facebook, type in mortgages. You can also listen to my lecture on interest. I believe that it is permissible. I have explained why. I believe it's incredibly complicated. And today, these loans, in my understanding, don't fit the bill of what Allah is addressing as riba in the Quran. That's my understanding. Give it back to what they still have their head patriarch in Istanbul. Question, do you think Umayyad and later Abbasids were Khilafah? I mean, yeah, Khilafah from whatever that means, of course. I mean, Khilafah just means like rulership. Yeah, they were rulers. The Greek community of Turkey still consider themselves colonized. Sorry to hear that, Martin. I'm sorry to hear that. In your opinion, is music haram? Hiba, in my opinion, no, music is not haram. Because there isn't a single clear-cut hadith or verse of the Quran to say it's haram. Not a single one that is sahih and sarih. That is clear and sahih. These are the two conditions. And the one they quote in Bukhari, ma'azif, that people before the end of time will make permissible ma'azif. Ma'azif does not, I know people say we use it for music, but it doesn't mean music. It means entertainment. So entertainment could be anything. Like Somebody could say a strip club is entertainment. Going to a club is entertainment. These things why just music? Like, so people saying, yeah, but music is also entertainment. Yeah, but playing computer games is entertainment. So, I mean, the thing is that hadith, this is why it has to be two things. It has to be sarih, clear. It has to use the word music. And it has to be sahih. And there isn't a single hadith. And you can read Imam Shawkani's discussion on it in his Nail al-Awtar. He has an elaborate discussion, brings every single hadith he can in this to do with this topic, and shows how it's not sahih. Salam Mufti Salik here from Asuhra. I've answered that question. The grandma home house retreat. Alright, I know there's a difference of opinion. Oh, that's my belief, Hiba. I hope that's of some help. Majid got a big shout out. Hell yeah, Hassan. View on Yazeed Muawiya. I believe Muawiya radiallahu anh was an amazing Sahabi, an amazing person of this ummah. Muawiya radiallahu anh, have immense respect for Muawiya. It doesn't mean that, look, people are going to say, but did he make certain mistakes? Did he? Look, nobody's perfect beyond prophets. So many Sahaba would have made mistakes, some more than others. That doesn't mean, there were Sahaba in the time of the Prophet ﷺ doing things like, that were drinking, doing all sorts, some even turned against the Prophet just for their own. It's like when the Prophet caught somebody and said, why did you betray me? He said, it's not that I don't love you, but it's just that everybody had protection in Mecca for their family and I didn't, and my family and my possessions were going to get taken, and I feared and I betrayed you. And the point is that, you see, they were human beings, but to me they were from the best of the human beings. Imam Malik said that Muawiya was amongst the most amazing Sahaba. He said anybody who verbally abuses Muawiya, Imam Malik said, should be punished. Yazeed is different. He's not a Sahabi. He obviously made some terrible choices, more terrible than good ones. I don't believe in cursing him. I don't believe in cursing anybody. I'm actually against this kind of cursing mentality, okay? I believe any religion that teaches you abuse, if you found God and God has just taught you to abuse, then I don't think you found God. That's in my understanding, okay? So that's what I would say. So I believe obviously he committed some atrocities, or he allowed certain atrocities to occur unquestioned. That's a better way perhaps of putting it. Buster rap. I can't rap. I wish I could. Waited 10 years to join a fast. On 9 and 11 of Muharram. Did he encounter the Jews in those 10 years? No, the thing is, the Prophet ﷺ said that we are more deserving of this than them. And the Ashura has many great reasons to fast on it. And so he fasted. You don't have to fast the Ashura. Many people don't do it. But it is a recommended thing, if you will, that the Sharia has granted a lot of benefits to those who do fast. There's immense rewards. Right, question. Imam Malik, Shafi, Hanbali as well, Qari Abu Yusuf, the opinion that Asr time starts when the shadow is equal to the length of the object. My question is, when does the delete for Imam Hanifa of Asr being twice the length? The thing is, Muhammad William Saleh, that, alright, Muhammad William, alright, how you doing, man, how you doing? The thing is, they use the same dalil. The hadith that says, فَكَانَ ذِلُّ كُلُّ شَيْءٍ مِثْلَيْهِ, that the shadow of everything is twice it. Did this mean, is twice it including the original length, or twice it excluding the original length? So the dalil is the same text, but it's being interpreted differently. Hope that helps. On those who follow the strongest opinion, I believe people should follow the strongest opinion. If you can, why not? Look, the thing is, I've got a video on should we follow a madhab, and I believe we should follow a madhab. I believe it's inconceivable that you could learn the Sharia without following a madhab. I believe Taqlid is permissible, it's not fard, but it's the only common sense way to learn the Sharia. And to be honest with you, I would say everybody should become Maliki. That's how passionate I am about the Maliki method. But just because I'm passionate, I'm not going to lie now and say, oh, you have to do this, you have to follow if I'm passionate about psychology, everybody has to study psychology. No, you don't have to do things like that. The thing is, I think we take this taqlid thing a bit too weirdly. We go OTT on things. Oh my God, this is like, we just want to exert control on everybody. Oh, why did you move? God damn it, stay still. I want to control everything. Oh, religion. Like, we feel that we have like a haq on the religion, like it's something that my dad gave me, and it's my dad's corporation. God damn it! I'll hire and fire as I see fit. Hell yeah, that's what. But we don't have that authority on Islam. So, yep. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna start wrapping up. Last few minutes. Shall we say the last few minutes? Yep. So take the last few questions. How do we introduce nuances to the Muslims who aren't ready for it? Nuances. I guess it's gradual education, gradual enlightenment. Or what is your opinion regarding the Sufis who travel in their suluk, the spiritual path? I'm not sure what that means. What is your opinion regarding the Sufis who travel? What does that mean, the Sufis who travel? I'm not sure what that means. Please, Ustadhana, hukum of raising and housing dogs. I believe in this day and age, it would be permissible. The Malikiya are they were okay with it anyway, to some extent, and Ibn Abi Zayd kept a dog. You see, but today the concept of dogs is a bit different. So today, people keep dogs like family members. In fact, they actually define them as part of their family. Historically, people never did that so much. Like, they kept dogs, but outside, they loved them and everything, but they weren't So today, things are a bit different. Is it permissible to keep a dog? I believe it is permissible to keep a dog. Is it permissible to keep a dog inside the house? I believe that there is leeway for that. There is permissible. There's grounds within the Maliki madhab. I would say, look, just be wary of the greater Muslim community, because the greater Muslim community tends to have a phobia of dogs, and they don't tend to be. I've got to say, I've actually got a bit of a phobia of dogs as well. I don't. Sorry, dog lovers out there. I can't. Oh my God! If there were dogs here, I cannot be in a place with a dog, right? So the thing is now, so just be wary if you're a Muslim living in a Muslim community with Muslims frequenting you who believe strongly that dogs are impure, then it may just be sensible. That's all. Hope that helps. Ruh al-Alam. Mustafa. Right, Ruh al-Alam. Right back at you, man. That's it, man. Inshallah. Hafidhakallah. What is the Sunnah Mahar? The Sunnah Mahar, I don't believe there was a set Sunnah. People say that, whatever Ali radiallahu anhu gave Fatima is the Sunnah, 40 dinars. I don't think that's necessarily Sunnah. I think the Sunnah is that it was left undetermined. It's whatever you feel is suitable. The Sunnah said just don't make it extortionate, saying something like I want £10,000 or 20,000, I believe is extortion. What it does is it commercializes the aspect of nikah. Nikah should be something done on mukarama, on a sense of respect to each other. You're like a sense of honoring, a sense of understanding with each other, and obviously supporting. But I mean, it becomes a shame if it's going to be about things like, well, okay, how much money are you going to do this, or how much money are you going to put down for me, or how much you could do it, there's no harm. But I just feel that if it becomes like that, fine. Actually, I mean, if they're fine with it, fine. I mean, but otherwise, it kind of robs the spirit of the relationship to an extent. Yeah, so that's what I would say. When are you coming to the US? I know, God damn. Alex, I won't be able to bench as much as you, man. Americans are just massive, I swear. I wish my dad gave me the steroid-laden food when I was a kid. Every Ahmad's Papa, Mufti Saab, who was Imam Qarrafi? Imam Qarrafi was Abul Abbas al-Qarrafi. He was from the 800s. He was a Maliki scholar, a legend in fiqh and a legend in usul. What more do you want me to say? Do you want me to give you his national insurance number? God damn it. A lot of ulama, even if they are Ashari, are talking very honorable and good about Muhammad Hassan al-Dedew. Is he Maliki? Is he a Mufti? What's so special on him? Shaykh Dedew is a legend. He's awesome. He's from Mauritania. He's a Mufti. He's an amazing Mufti. One of the most leading personalities in the Arab-speaking world today. He is Maliki in fiqh. He does believe in following Daleel. And above all that, who is on a WhatsApp basis with him? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's it. So somebody is on a personal basis with him. So no, he is amazing. He is amazing. Right, people, I think we're going to have to call it a day. I did want to hit the gym as well. Can you give any advice on depression? People, Ahliya, stop being depressed. God damn it. Love life. Life is so awesome. Just see the greatness out there, man. Just chill, enjoy, take your vitamins, go to the gym, go to a steam room, watch some movies, meet up with friends. Life is amazing. It's way too short to be depressed. Don't be depressed don't let things depress you. What the hell? Just think of it like this. You sitting here today are in a more convenient position than the majority of the globe. And Allah be praised. That's what it is, people. Right now, this world and what God has given us is seriously too awesome. Too awesome, people. We couldn't be grateful if we wanted to, and we're ungrateful anyway. So I'm speaking for myself firstly. I'm not doing a humble one, just being honest. I think seriously, the world is awesome. Yes, it's going to have some bad people in it, but people who are just rotten, bitter, haters. But as I said, haters, they're just somebody who wish they were you. Like I say to some people, I say, if I was you, I'd want to be me too. That really winds them up. The thing is, look, in general though, if you look at the world with a smile, you see it to be such an amazing place. Just chill with friends, chill with people, laugh. You can never laugh enough, honestly. That's what I would say. Watch some comedy, watch some stand-up. That should do the job. Inshallah, people, till next time, I think we've got to call it a night, inshallah. It's been awesome. Shukran for your questions. I really do enjoy these things, inshallah. Next time, same place, inshallah. Till then, just lots of love and salam. Take care of yourselves. Remember me in your du'as. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.